It's a football Friday. We'll preview a biggie going on tonight all across the state. Century head coach Ron Wingenbach will join us. Plus, we got NFL picks with my dad. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the Wear Your Rain Slicker edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning in Sioux Falls. They're ready for a championship tonight. And good morning, everybody in western South Dakota, KNBN. It is a football Friday, 19th day of September, starting wet. Hopefully it's going to clear out of here because we got a bunch of games tonight. We've got homecomings going on. I know there's a big one in Moorhead. We're excited about that, especially at our house, spuds that we are. Jackman is probably more excited for two things tonight. The parade, number one. Candy, 1A from said parade. And lastly, 1B to go inside the WDAY production truck and hit buttons for the game tonight because our truck is going to be at the Spuds game as they take on Wayzata tonight. So, fair warning, if you're watching the broadcast and you see all sorts of different shots, that's probably my son wrecking everything. But we're looking forward to what's going to be a great night. It feels like fall. Like I mentioned, hopefully it clears out. We're going to have a great show to get you ready for the weekend without Bison football for everybody to get through that. And then after this, you got 9 straight weeks of it after this Saturday. There are some games we'll keep our eyes on. You'll see that crawling across the bottom of your screen in our ticker of a bunch of college games going on. Bison are off. Gophers are off. I've said it since the week started. The game to go to tomorrow is across the river. If you're looking for a college football game, Wayne State, MSUM tomorrow at noon. Because UND's playing Valpo. That's a set-the-score game. Honestly, Valpo's bad. UND will be able to do whatever they want tomorrow. So if you're looking for a college game tomorrow, go watch Jack Strand and the Dragons. NFL teams are. You should. That's coming up tomorrow. We got a lot to get to on our show today. I mentioned off the top, we got NFL picks coming up with my dad as Week 3 is officially kicked off last night. We'll get to the Bills-Dolphins game in a second. Vikings have their game with Cincinnati with Carson Wentz starting at quarterback. We'll chat about that with his high school coach. Ron Wingenbach will join the show. We haven't had Coach on in forever to chat about that. His Century Patriots picked up a big road win last week in West Fargo, Cheyenne. They got a biggie tonight as well. We'll preview that coming up later on in the show. It is Friday. Cory Provus will join us, one of his last appearances on the show. I think we got him. I know we got him next week, and we'll see if we get one more after that to put a bow on everything. Twins open up their final home series of the year with the Guardians in town. There's 10 days left in the baseball season. So for Twins fans, they're counting it down. The rest of us that are invested in our said team, this is going to be a dicey last 10 days. But we'll chat some baseball coming up with Cory in just a little bit. Also, you're going to hear coming up here in just a few minutes from Kirill Kaprizov. He spoke yesterday. The Wild opened up training camp. The drama there is thick surrounding the Minnesota Wild, considering their best player and his rejection of an 8-year, $128 million contract. You'll hear from Bill Guerin as well. That's coming up. And we've got in my hand eliminator picks for Week 3. Already we've got a couple safe that picked the Bills last night. They really went on a limb there to pick the Bills. So we'll get to everybody's revelations on that coming up before we move on. Now, speaking of the Bills, opening up Week 3 of the NFL season, Thursday Night Football against Miami. Again, when the schedulers put this out, division game on a Thursday night. Amazon getting treated pretty well with its games, but the Dolphins had stunk out of the gates at 0-2. destroyed by Indianapolis, lost to New England, playing now on the road. They were a double-digit underdog last night against a Miami team that actually came ready to play. The Bills tie it on this Dalton Kincaid 20-yard touchdown reception from Josh Allen to make it a 7-all game. Same score in the second quarter. Allen with a little flip, love that play, to Jackson Haas for the touchdown. It's a 14-7 Buffalo lead. Now, late in the first half, Miami comes right back. Little slant play here. Tua drills it to Jalen Waddle for a touchdown, and we're tied at 14. Bills take the opening possession of the third quarter. James Cook scores. All right, you think Buffalo's going to run away with it now. It's 21-14. That's not what happened. Same score here. Little trickery from Miami. Malik Washington, the lateral. Devon Achane comes up and he picks up 10 yards. Nice little play there. Now it's fourth down. Dolphins going for it, and they're able to pick it up here on this play as Waddle goes for 15 yards. Later in the drive, Tua hits Tyreek Hill for the touchdown. All of a sudden, everybody in Orchard Park, silence because the game is tied at 21. Next drive, the Bills have to punt. Cameron Johnston with a great punt. It's going to pin Miami inside the 5. Actually, I think they down into the 2-yard line, but you see there's a flag on the play. Oh, no. Roughing the kicker. Johnston, you can't do that with the kicker's leg up. It's 15 yards. Buffalo stays on the field. Allen will hit Khalil Shakur on a little screen. He dances in from 15 yards out. That made it 28-21 Buffalo. Dolphins get the ball back. 4.5 minutes to go. They hit Waddle here for a first down. So Miami's moving. Got a chance to tie the game. From the Bills 21, trying to hit Waddle. They went picked off, though. Terrell Bernard, one of the captains of the Bills, seals it. And Buffalo is 3-0. They kick a field goal and beat Miami. 31-21 the final. As they improve to 3-0, Miami drops to 0-3 in the process. This Bills team is going to be hard to beat going forward. Miami gave it a great try, but it is Buffalo who ends up winning. See the final stat line for Josh Allen, 3 touchdowns. Whoever had him on your fantasy team, you're living well. Tua with 4 picks there last night. Achane with a nice night, but Miami falls to 0-3. Just looking ahead for Bills fans to start to dream just a little bit because they believe this is the year with Kansas City starting 0-2. The next 4 games for Buffalo, home for the Saints, home for the Patriots, at the Falcons, at the Panthers. They're going to be 7-0 when we get to Halloween. After that, they host Kansas City. That's the biggie right after Halloween, November the 2nd. And we don't know what the Chiefs are going to be, but I don't think Kansas City is over. I just don't. But there's a good chance the Bills are going to be unbeaten going into that game. And then after that, they're at the Dolphins, home for Tampa, at the Texans, at the Steelers. I mean, that sets up for them as we're talking now. We're all the way to Thanksgiving after that. Their bye comes after the Falcons game coming up in October. Buffalo's tough. Going to be really hard to beat them. Good win last night. Fun game. Teams went back and forth. Good old AFC East rivalry there. The Dolphins have not beaten the Bills now in 6 years, I think it is. That's like what Buffalo did to the Jets forever. I give Phil Hansen crap for this all the time because growing up, the Jets never beat the Bills. From 1989 to 1996, look, the Jets probably beat them once in that span, and they play twice a year. I don't know. I can't remember a time when they beat them. I'm sure I'm forgetting a time when maybe Boomer Esiason beat them in 1994 when he was the Jets quarterback. I'll have to look that up in the break. I'm sure that happened. And anyway, there was Al Michaels dropped this nerd stat during the game last night. And again, I will champion Amazon's broadcasts. They've gotten so much better. Quality is really good. I think audio's good. You're not dwarfed out. If you go back and watch the Chargers-Raiders game from Monday night, you can't hear the broadcast. The audio of the crowd is louder than the announcers, which is never good. Anyway, the sound mix was great last night. Michael said in the 70s, the Dolphins were 20-0 against Buffalo. And granted, that Miami teams, of course, went to the Super Bowl. They had the unbeaten team in 1973. That's quite the stretch. So Buffalo maybe getting a little payback here for what they've done lately. But that is the way Week 3 began last night. Also going last night, if you flipped off the football game like I did and turned on the end of the basketball game, you got a dandy. WNBA playoffs, first round. The Lynx have already moved on. Last night, Game 3, Seattle and Las Vegas. Dynamite finish. Skylar Diggins cans the three here for the Storm. Puts Seattle up 1 with a minute to go. Asia Wilson was sensational last night, folks. She had 38. She scores here, puts the Aces back in front. Seattle comes right down. Erica Wheeler pull-up jumper. Seattle has the lead, 73-72. 18 seconds to go. Vegas has the ball. Wilson with a shot. Misses. Nobody blocks out Jackie Young. She scores. Vegas is up 74-73. Storm have a chance. Gabby Williams on the putback. The loose ball here. Lots the time here. Puts it up. The lights went out. The horn goes off. Now watch. She didn't get the shot off in time. Imagine if that would have went in. Las Vegas wins it 74-73. So they win the series 2-1. Indiana won last night. Without Caitlin Clark, the Fever beat the higher-seeded Atlanta Dream. So you've got Indiana and Las Vegas meeting in one semifinal series that'll begin Sunday. And then the Lynx will await the winner of the Mercury and the Liberty. They'll play tonight in Phoenix. That series will begin Sunday in Minneapolis. I got a great email, by the way, after the show from a frequent emailer to our program, and I want to read it here quick. This is going back to what we were talking about the Lynx game, because we have everything happening Sunday now, with the Vikes playing at noon. The Twins are playing at 1. I don't know who's going to be there. And now we know the Lynx game. Says, Dom, I'd love for the Lynx game to be at 4 p.m. as well, but unfortunately the sports rubes in Atlanta, Vegas, and Indianapolis feel the same way about their clubs. The Falcons, Raiders, and Colts all play at noon as well. Really, though, I think it all hinges on Indiana. If the Fever win, they'll probably be on ABC at 2 p.m. again. Apparently, the national audience loves to see Caitlin Clark and her civvies antagonizing the referees. And that is exactly what happened, because after the game last night, Indiana and Vegas, that game is in Vegas. Will be at 2 p.m. Central Time on ABC. That's a noon local start in Las Vegas. And then the Lynx will play at 4 on ESPN against either the Liberty or the Mercury, which works out better in Minneapolis, frankly, because you've got the Vikes game will be done at 3:15 at the latest. Nobody cares what's going on with the Twins. I mean, what's our under-over on how many people are going to be at the Twins game? 10,000? And there's going to be a sellout crowd at the Lynx game at 4 o'clock right across the street at Target Center. So congrats to our emailer, was dead on that. I love our audience. They are smart with sports TV. They know what's going on, and they got that one right yesterday. Good stuff there. Not great stuff for you fans of the Minnesota Wild. So yesterday, opening day of camp, finally, we got to hear from Kirill Kaprizov. Now, his English is better. You're going to hear, it's a very short answer here, and you're also going to hear from Bill Guerin on where things are at. Now, for those that aren't big hockey fans, this is a huge story locally, just because of the fact he's turned down the richest contract in NHL history. So here's the backstory as they opened up camp yesterday. Last
you
week,
guys know I like Mini, and
here's the sound.
This, and it's we have a lot of time. It's just 2025.
We know Kirill. We like Kirill. He's a great player. Why wouldn't we be confident? It's been a great relationship. I mean, we love the kid.
So that's what Kaprizov and Guerin had to say. And you'll see him out on the ice practicing yesterday. He was excited to be back. Kaprizov said, it's my job just to focus on hockey in camp right now. I just want to be practicing. We have a lot of time. Just want to practice and get ready for the season. and focus on this right now. Guerin added, he's our franchise player. We want to keep him here. He's part of our team. We're working towards that. We're doing the best we can. Hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. Now, I don't blame Minnesota sports fans for freaking out on this because they've been down this road before with high-priced talent and then seen them leave. I wouldn't say high-priced talent. I'd say electric talent, game-changing talent. Johan Santana comes to mind. That was early on in my time in Fargo that Santana won the Cy Young. And then after 2007, another great year, the Twins traded him for Carlos Gomez to the Mets. Granted, I don't know if Santana's best years were already past, but that beside the point, they weren't going to pay him. I don't think that's the case with the Wild. They've already said they're going to pay him. And Kaprizov said in the soundbite there, we have a lot of time. It's just 2025, and it's one more year I have. I just want to play hockey and focus and win some games and go in the playoffs and win there. Just focus on this now. That's not what the Wild want to do. Guerin wants this done, but the longer this drags out, the less chance he stays in Minnesota. That's reality, whether Wild fans want to acknowledge it or not. Now, there is the specter of this, again, for non-hockey fans, just to explain, Connor McDavid, who is the best player in the game, is yet to be signed as well. He's an impending free agent with another year left on his deal. And Edmonton is going to back up the Brinks truck for that guy. And there's the possibility that Kaprizov and his representation is waiting for whatever McDavid gets. Then we know we're going to go to the Wild and say this is what we want. And obviously the Wild are saying, well, let's get in before that is done. There is also the possibility, and I mentioned this last week, that Kaprizov wants to go the Kirk Cousins route. Cousins didn't ever want to sign a long-term deal. He wanted to sign a shorter term and get the most money. Like Cousins got 3 years, 84 from the Vikings, something crazy like that. Kaprizov could be wanting to go down that route as well. Either way, it makes for tense times for Wild fans. I'm certain for the general manager of the Minnesota Wild, he's in the same boat as well. Either way, it's the Wild open up crazy enough. They start playing preseason because they play too many preseason games this weekend with the season just a few weeks out. This time next year, we'll actually start playing in September when the season goes to 84 games. We'll see. We got a packed show coming up for you here on this Friday morning. Our guest lineup is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. At 9:35, Cory Provus back with us as we get ready for the Twins' final home series with the Guardians. There's some updated TV stuff to talk about. We'll ask Cory about it with the deal that Rob Manfred announced earlier this week and how that affects how you watch Twins games in 2026. We'll see what Cory can tell us coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, the legend, Ron Wingenbach, will join us. Century head football coach. Patriots have a biggie tonight as they get set to take on West Fargo. They got a big win on the road last week. We'll visit about that. And also, guy who used to quarterback is now quarterbacking the Minnesota Vikings. We'll chat about that coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, it is Friday. We'll do picks with my dad as we'll see how he fares in week 3. Email comes in. Eric, this is for you. Dom, you can tell Eric that when he makes his next AFC East standings graphic to put the X and Y next to Buffalo. That's funny. I believe that's wins the division and home field advantage, one or the other. It's not over yet. Although the Jets have Tampa, and you'll see a very bold pick, I believe, in the Eliminator coming up later on in the show. That's our show lineup here on a busy Friday. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll get you ready. Got a dynamite night of high school football to prep you for. Looks like it's going to be a wet one across the region. Hot Mike off and rolling on a Friday morning. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody, on a Friday morning edition of Hot Mike. Tonight, we've got 2 games for you. Wayzata is here. First time to play the Spuds in football. 6 o'clock. That game is available on WDAY Extra right here. Also tonight, Bismarck comes east to take on Fargo Davies. Coverage of that on WDAY 2 at 7 o'clock. Our guy Sam Getzinger on the call of that. Part of a great Friday night lineup of games that will feature on First Down Friday with highlights across the area. Can we just stop for a second and acknowledge that Bunnell is that big of a deal that you got emails now addressed to you? Do you understand? And outside of your ridiculously terrible chili and goulash take, that now you are that big a deal? You've reached this status? Congratulations, I guess, maybe in order now?
I mean, I guess people are finally starting to realize who runs the show behind the scenes, that they're addressing me by name.
Wow, there it is. So, yes, that big enough a deal there. Another email into the show. Dom, is the fact a Fargo South NDSU grad that is the Buffalo defensive coordinator the most underrated sports story in the region? It may be. Bobby Babich is the DC of the Buffalo Bills, and they're rolling. I have reached out to the Bills. I'm hopeful that we're going to get him on the show sometime soon. Now with a 10-day layoff, we may have an opportunity. We'll see. If not, it might be in the bye week in October, but we have reached out on that. So appreciate that. Okay. We got a huge night of games. We're going to try and do this each and every Friday to get you ready for the games around the area. And this is not all of them. These are in North Dakota for the big schools, 3A and 2A, the matchups we have. We got a bunch of other games coming up on our ticker as well that you can get ready for tonight. So here's in at least the big schools to start. Don't get mixed up on this. Fargo North at Minot North tonight. That's a 3A versus 2A game, at least for now. I was discussing this actually earlier this week about this matchup. Minot North should be 3A in the not-too-distant future. North's 2-1. Got a good win over South last week. We'll see on how this matchup goes if they can go out west. And Minot North has been really good, as we thought, in 2A football. Horace and Legacy. Legacy, we interviewed Chris Clements earlier this week, head coach of the Sabres. They're now the number 1 ranked team in 3A football. That's never happened before since Legacy opened, facing a Horace team. Now, obviously, in its debut year, and Chris mentioned this, they come in at 2-1. Horace's only loss was to Kindred in 2A football. Cheyenne and Mandan out west tonight as well. Cheyenne comes in at 1-2 after their loss to Century last week. Mandan still looking for its first win at 0-3. Tough year for the Braves to start. They lost a bunch of guys off of last year's team. We'll see how that goes tonight. West Fargo and Century, we're going to chat about that coming up in our next hour. Patriots got their first win at 1-2. West Fargo's 1-2 as well to start the year. The Packers have been a bunch of tight games. They easily could be 3-0. They sit at 1-2. Bismarck and Davies, we've got that game for you on WDAY 2 tonight. Davies suffered its first loss, losing last week to Legacy. Bismarck comes in also at 2-1. That's going to be a dynamite football game tonight. That game may take an hour to play. I don't know who's throwing the ball. Getzinger may be out there by like 8:15 tonight. Minot and Shanley also tonight. Minot off to an 0-3 start. That's just, we're not used to that. Against a Shanley team that's humming. They're now ranked number 2 at 3-0. Certainly bounced back after the disappointing year they had last year. There was their first losing season that the Deacons had in 17 years. 2008 was the last time they had. That was before Lockway got there. I don't remember Lockway's first year because they won the title the following year in 2009. Either way, it was a long time. They seem to be on the upward trend there. Other games, keep an eye on. Williston at Red River tonight. Riders are 1-2 on the year. Williston comes in at 0-3. Central at Watford City. We had Jake Schauer on the show a couple weeks ago. They're still unbeaten as Central at 3-0, and they got their longest road trip of the year. Watford comes in at 2-1, though, so that should be a good one out west tonight. South is at Devil's Lake. South comes in after its loss last week at 1-2, facing a Devil's Lake team so far that comes in at 2-1. Jamestown at Kindred. We know what the Vikings have done. They're 3-0, facing off against a Jamestown team that enters at 1-2. And you've got St. Mary's at Wahpeton tonight as well. St. Mary's off to an 0-3 start, and Wahpeton. Somebody's going to get win number 1 there for that game tonight down in Wahpeton. That's just a handful of the big school games that we're keeping our eyes on across the state tonight. That Central Watford City game, awfully pretty good. That Minot North, Fargo North game should be really good as well. Minot North has done everything that they expected to do. They're 3-0. So far, let me just real quick who they went through. They beat Williston 41 rip. They beat South by 3 touchdowns, a game we televised, and last week they dusted Red River. They have beaten all comers. It's all pointing, like we talked about in August when camp got going, that it's Minot North and Kindred as the 2 teams in 2A football. And if we get that, sign me up. That could be a dynamite late afternoon game for the Dakota Bowl, if it trends in that direction. And the big school division, Legacy and Shanley have set themselves apart right now so far as the 2 teams to watch. Davies is right there as well. And this reminder on the schedule, Shanley does not play Legacy this year. So they do not play one another. Just something to keep your eyes on as we go down the road. That Shanley team, after tonight, they play Minot. They go to West Fargo. EDC plays after this week with Davies at North, home for Cheyenne, and then they end with Horace. Different this year that the Davies-Shanley game is not the final game of the regular season. What you got for me?
So with this year's Kindred team, obviously they beat Horace at Horace.
They did.
How well would they compete in 3A this year?
That's a good question. I've had that asked to me as well. I don't know week to week how they would handle the physicality of that and the bigger teams because they have more kids in the 3A level. Obviously in 2A, that's how they do it. They'd be okay against some. Playing Davies, playing Shanley, that would be playing Legacy, playing Bismarck, that'd probably be tough. Horace is still, I know the numbers-wise where they're at. I'd like to see where they get, but not quite yet on them.
I think with Shanley just throwing the ball, because Kindred has the athletes, they might be able to hang. That might be like a 70 to. That might be a 9-man score, 70-68 or something like that. Because Madden doesn't play defense.
No, they like to throw it, and that'd be fun to watch. But let's see how they fare the rest of the way. But that's intriguing to ask, considering after they beat Horace. That's some of the games coming up tonight. We'll feature most of those games for highlights on First Down Friday coming up with Cullen Holt tonight in our sports at 10:20. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll shift gears and talk some baseball. Twins have their final home series of the year. Cory Provus will join us to get us ready for Twins Guardians and look ahead to the final week of the regular season. That's coming up. We come back.
Deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. He struck him out swinging at 101. Swinging a drive. Left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
All right, it's time to talk some Minnesota Twins baseball with our guy Cory Provus. His appearances are brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. Joins us each and every Friday at 9:35. Twins have their final homestand of the year. Begins tonight with the Guardians. Doubleheader tomorrow and then wrap up on Sunday, which it seems like a long time coming. I'm not sure for you as a broadcaster to keep the games interesting. This past week certainly was fun with the Yankees in town.
And it was, Twins fans obviously have their feelings about the Yankees, and so much of that is based on how it's gone over the years and in the postseason, all the heartbreak. I love when the Twins and Yankees play. I love going to New York. It's a great fan base that's loud, that cares. They don't need the scoreboard to tell them to make noise with 2 strikes. And they travel, and they make for a fun atmosphere. And, that's been lacking here. Just to be honest with you, Dom, it hasn't been great, since school has started around the ballpark. So when the Yankees come to town, you see so many Yankee fans in their Judge jerseys and their Jeter jerseys and the pinstripes, and they make noise. They care. They're passionate. So I'll take that all the time. I think I love when the Twins and Yankees play, and I thought it was a really fun atmosphere this week.
All right, so I got a tip of the hat to you on your call on Austin Martin because we talked about it last week. He had a dynamite week, couple big plays. Has he made a stamp to say to management that he can be the left fielder for this team in 2026?
He's certainly a big part of it. I'm not ready to say that because look across the game, you need power.
Yeah.
That left field, that's a home run spot. And now in the game today, it used to be you'd go around and be like, okay, you need power from the corner outfielders, from the corner infielders, and that's great. Now there's power
everywhere,
just about everywhere. But I think left field, it's going to be hard to not get. You need double-digit home runs out of that spot unless they're getting it from somewhere else. They're overtaking what they're missing left because they're getting more from their catchers. And if Ryan Jeffers bounces back and has a really big offensive season with slug and power, then maybe you can get away with that for a little bit. But I've thoroughly enjoyed watching him play, the way that he's playing, the way that Sim's been pitching, because that Jose Barrios trade, Dom, it didn't look good.
No.
If you would ask me a year ago, who won that trade, it was a landslide, all Toronto. But now we're seeing some progress here. I'm not ready to say that the Twins won that trade, but at least we're seeing progress now from both guys, because Sim was awesome on Monday, and the way that Austin Martin's been playing. I thought he put it well. I'm not sure if you saw the story in the Star Tribune where he's playing with mental freedom for the first time, that he realizes that, hey, I have a spot on this team. I'm going to play just about every single day. If he has a bad game or he has a bad base running play, he's not going to have to worry like, hey, am I going down? Am I going to be out of the lineup for 2 days? He's got a long runway here, and he's certainly making the most of it.
Let's talk about Simeon Woods Richardson, what he did earlier this week against the Yankees. 11 strikeouts, by far his best start. What was it, just one night, or what clicked for you when you were watching him pitch earlier this week?
Pete Mackey told me something about him, the Twins pitching coach in Kansas City, on the last road trip. He said when it comes to Sim, on days when he starts and he leaves the dugout first inning and he crosses that line, he is of the mindset that he is the best player on the field. And that is something that I asked Sim about. And he said, I absolutely believe that I am the best on the field. And that whole line of a starter saying, I'm not worried about the other team, I just throw my game. He was absolutely motivated to take on Aaron Judge and the Yankees, the best offense in the game that leads the world in home runs. And you could say, yeah, the Yankees, they were sleep deprived, yada, yada, yada. No. Let's give credit where credit is due. Sim was great. He used that splitter more than he ever has before. And remember, that was a pitch he didn't have in April. That was a pitch that came on in May, ditched the changeup, and went to the splitter. And it's been a much, much better pitch, to induce some more swing and miss that wasn't there with the changeup. So I think he was motivated. I think he's looking to say, hey, I know you've required all this pitching and all these trades, but I want to be a part of this series. Also out of options. So Sim, spring training next year, he's got to make the team or be exposed to waivers. Now, he wants to start, but is he part of that group? If it doesn't work as a starter, does he then begin that shift to the bullpen like we've talked about, since the trade deadline?
I got to ask as well, Cody Clemens is another guy that after he had the 3 home run game on Friday night, he's got 19 home runs. Is he part of this going forward too, in your mind?
I think he's the first baseman right now.
Wow.
But I think they need a right-handed bat in there as well. I mean, they absolutely need a right-handed bat that can play some first base. So I don't know if it'll be a straight platoon like it became with Ty France and Cody there before the trade deadline, but right now, the infield is Clemens, Keyshaw, Lee, and Lewis. And that's going to be, to me right now, the starting infield with this team. It was interesting with Brooks Lee. He joined Justin Morneau for a really good, candid chat that we aired on the pregame show during the Yankee series. And part of what Brooks is going to do this winter and this offseason is improve his speed. Is that I think to be the everyday shortstop at the major league level, you don't have to be the fastest guy in the game, but you have to have more range than he has displayed. So we know he's going to get all the work in with his dad. We know the hitting, the ground balls. I'm not worried about that, but maybe he works with, a running specialist, a track team, what have you, just to get more agile, because I think that's the one part of his game that needs work, and he admitted as much to Morneau during that conversation during the Yankee series.
That's just one of the most unlikely guys or signings that's happened that now may turn into a Twins regular in 2026. Did not see that coming at all.
No, I didn't have him for 19 home runs.
No.
And remember, it was a reactionary move.
Yeah.
They needed somebody after Keyshaw got hurt in April. They needed some semblance of veteran infield depth, and Cody was DFA'd by the Phillies, and that move was only made because of Keyshaw's injury.
Yeah, it's wild. Speaking of injury or staying healthy, Byron Buxton crossed over 500 plate appearances. He got a big $500,000 bonus. I remember when the contract was signed that those seemed unreachable considering Byron's health status prior to 2021 or 2022. He's got a chance to hit a few more elevators or escalators, maybe the best way to describe it, Corey, over the next 10 days that can certainly make the offseason even better for him if he's able to get there.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's aware of all that, and I'm sure his agent is aware of all that.
Yeah.
To me, I am more focused on the 30-30 number.
Mm.
I think he knows, and I think he's well aware of the fact that there's never been a 30-30 season in Twins history, and he's 6 stolen bases away. I think he wants it.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get it. So to me, that's what I'm looking more. And again, I get why he's looking at all the financial incentives that impact him and his family. Nope, I get it, understand. But man, I'm really, to me, what's appealing and what's the draw with his team left? That's a big one for me. To see something we've never seen before in Twins history is a 30-30 season, and Byron is 6 stolen bases away from making that happen.
Do you think he gets some MVP votes, like down the ballot votes, in your opinion?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think he'll be down the ballot. I don't know if he'll finish top 10, but I think top 15. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I think he'll certainly be. Jim Bowden in The Athletic, he had a whole story about he picked his AL MVP, and he picked Judge over Raleigh, which I get. I mean, it's back and forth, but if I don't get a vote, I'd vote for Raleigh over Judge, and that's not to slight what Aaron Judge is doing. No. He's amazing. He's incredible, but I lean on history, and we're seeing the greatest season ever offensively by a catcher in big league history. No switch hitters ever hit more home runs in a season than what Cal Raleigh's doing right now, and he's catching, and his team is in first place.
Right.
That to me swings him. But anyway, Jim Bowden mentioned, he gave it to Judge, then Raleigh, then Witt, but then others to consider. He put Byron in that group as well. So I think he certainly gets top 15, maybe sneaks into the top 10.
I had it on my list to ask you about Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge, so let's go back on that because we saw what he did earlier this week. I think we talked earlier in the year about potential MVP, and Judge was maybe the leader in the clubhouse, but Raleigh, I thought, put his stamp on it, what he did at the All-Star game, at the Home Run Derby, and it's only continued in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's coming up with huge swings here in September when it matters most. He went into a little bit of a rut. Excuse me there, Dom. He went into a rut there a little bit in December, in August, but his September numbers are great. And right now that team is in first place.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want to, if you play Seattle right now in a short series at that ballpark, good luck. With Brian Wu pitching as well as he has, and they're getting some better performances, and that back end of the bullpen, that's going to be a tough team. And I think there's going to be some experts that pick the Mariners to come out of the American League. It wouldn't shock me if they win the pennant now, the way that they're playing and the way that they're going right now. So that's a bad matchup right now, I think, for any team in October.
Guardians are here for 4, and we talked about this last week, looking ahead what the Twins had left. These are huge games. It was for last week with Arizona. These are monster. The Guardians are a game and a half out of the final wild card spot, so there is a lot on the line over this weekend at Target Field.
Just swept the Tigers.
Yeah.
They're only 3.5 back of the Tigers, and then the Tigers go to Cleveland next weekend to finish the regular season. So I'm telling you, the Guardians are coming in hot. They've won 12 of their last 13. Here they go again. They're not just thinking about the wild card. They're thinking about this division.
Wow.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time to win this division. And they've got 4 with the Twins here this weekend. They've played the Twins very well. They're great in one-run games. We know that story. And Jose Ramirez is doing Jose Ramirez things like he does every year. We mentioned MVP. He's always a top 5. He's always.
Yeah.
And he gets, and I don't like the whole idea is that, under the radar. No, he's not. Mm-mm. He is absolutely on the radar. He's one of the best players in the game. And he's determined. This team is determined right now. So, yeah, I mean, Cleveland, that dugout's going to be jumping here this weekend. These 4 games are huge.
And they've done it without their all-star closer. Clase's been suspended for months because of the gambling investigation. That, to me, is even more impressive what they've done with some of the guys they don't have out there.
They defy analytics in many ways.
All the time. Yeah.
Because their run differentials in the negative. They have like 1 or 2 guys that are actually having better than league average seasons in terms of OPS plus and WRC plus. These are all the parameters that I talk about, that front offices talk about to really define who's good, who's not. And they're an example that it's not just based on that there's other traits, there's other attributes that makes a player good, that makes a team good. And Cleveland's got bullpen magic. It was historically the greatest bullpen in baseball history last year with what they did. And I'm with you, Don. They lose the piece in Emmanuel Clase, and don't miss a beat. Yeah. It really speaks to how well they draft, how well they coach, how well they develop. and that's why they've been a perennial playoff team now the last decade.
Last thing on this before we go to break. I'm interested, you've covered for so long, for when team is out of it like the Twins are, do you see teams rise up when they know the team they're playing has a lot to play for? Is that historically you've seen that, or is that not the case?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the last weekend, if your rival is in town,
yep,
and you have a chance to send them home, maybe that comes up. But I think right now the motivation for these players is to be a part of the solution
team next year. Yeah,
and they want to be a part of. Hey, when this 40-man roster is going to be overhauled here in a few weeks, I want to still be on that 40-man, and I still want to be part of the group here a little bit. So I think that's the motivating factor right now. And I don't think too much of it in terms of, hey, let's send the Guardians home. I don't. If that's driving them, so be it. But I've never really been a big believer in that.
Let's break. We come back much more with Cory as the Twins get ready for their final homestand, and then it's on the road to wrap up 2025. We'll do that on the other side of the break. We're back after this. Wrapping up our first hour, back with Cory Provus. Twins and Guardians coming up tonight. As I mentioned, to wrap up the home schedule, then it's on the road to Texas and Philadelphia. When we saw the schedule to start, not knowing those could be some meaningful games, and unfortunately, there looks like there's pretty much no drama involved with either team to wrap up the year.
Yeah, I mean, looking ahead to next week, I mean, Philly's already in. We know their situation. Texas is hanging on. They're fading here in the wild card race. So there's still something to be said. I'm glad that no team is going to clinch anything. I don't like that, and that idea of a team that clinches in front of you that should motivate you. No,
yeah.
I think we're beyond that.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing it. I don't want to be around it unless it's my team. So I'm glad that's not going to happen. But Cleveland, meaningful baseball coming up this weekend for them. Texas, we'll see. And the Phillies, I think they're just trying to get right. And maybe, depending on what happens next week, there is still a chance that the Phillies are the 1 seed. So when they look ahead, and that's going to be, probably, within range there, depending on how next week goes, is to then host that home field if they take on Milwaukee, and they would have home field. And for the Phillies, that's not insignificant. We were just chatting that atmosphere, that ballpark is unbelievable in the regular season, let alone October. So for the Phillies to have the best record in the National League and to host throughout the playoffs is not meaningless.
All right, so you mentioned Seattle as the dangerous team in the American League. Who is it in the National League, in your opinion?
Well, Milwaukee to me is fascinating because they're trying to prove that it's not just about home runs.
Yep.
Now, they do slug more than people think. This is not just, a steal base, bunt. They do hit home runs. I mean, they do slug. But that has been the number one go-to. What advances teams? It's home runs. If you out-homer your opponent, the records, the numbers are overwhelmingly on your side to not just win games, to win series, but to win, pennants and the World Series championship. But can Milwaukee's style, when they're going up against elite pitching, they're going to be going up against 1s and 2s and maybe a 3 here and there, but can they get on base? This chaos that they play with, can that succeed in October? We don't know because it hasn't been done before. So I'm pulling for Milwaukee for sentimental reasons as well. I think a year after, Bob passed away, he's certainly, watching this team succeed and do what they've done. So once the Twins are out, then I shift. I become a fan of Milwaukee, and then I always root for the Cubs.
I was going to say your Cubs, right?
Yeah,
I was going to say
where I grew up. I'll always root for the Cubs. But yeah, my heart right now, more of my heart is with Milwaukee, at least this fall, than it has been with the Cubs.
Can you give me some hope that the Mets are going to make it? Can they hang on, or no? Is it over?
No, it's not over. I think the Mets are going to find their way in, but I think what we don't probably appreciate is the season Juan Soto's had.
Yes.
I mean, Juan Soto was not even an all-star.
No.
Was not even an all-star.
Oh.
And he's had an unbelievable season, and he's defying, again, you don't need to be the fastest guy to steal bases.
Yep.
Be smart, pay attention, and you can succeed with the limitations pitchers have. And Josh Naylor's done it, and Juan Soto has done it. And it should be a message to every slow player out there. You don't have to have Buxton, Witt, Turner, Chandler Simpson speed to be a successful base runner in today's game. You can do it if you pay attention, and these guys do, and therefore they take advantage of the new rules.
Want to wrap things up with you. The Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, was speaking earlier this week. Was talking about streaming rights for next year. Obviously, now it sounds like they have a deal work with ESPN that MLB and ESPN are going to work together on the teams that they control, which the Twins is one of them. Can you illuminate? I guess I know. Here we go. We're talking distribution again for 2026. Does that mean anything changes for fans how they watch the games next year?
I would assume it would. I would assume that it would be through the ESPN app.
Okay.
Is how they do it instead of doing the MLB TV app right now or the Twins app. I would imagine that you do it through an ESPN app would be my best read on it right now. My hope and my belief is that it doesn't change, that ESPN is handling distribution, but that the crews stay intact, that what we've had and what we've done this year with traveling, our producer, our director, our graphics, audio, tape, I believe that will stay true, and that I hope that we bring back the same talented men and women that we've had this season. So that's my belief, and I don't know more than that, but my understanding right now is that the ESPN part of it will be more distribution-based and less, hands-on in terms of how the look and the feel of Twins TV will look and will kind of display moving forward.
How have you felt like the year has gone?
I've loved it, and maybe I'm biased because I'm into it every single day. But when I was doing radio all those years, I didn't go back and listen to my stuff too much. But with TV, I do, and I go back, and I'm really proud of the work that we've done. And I really appreciate how clean they are.
That's good, man.
How technically sound they are. And I like the freedom that we've had, which we were told we could try some things. We could have some features. We can get away from just the same template that other teams are doing and take some chances with some things. Some have worked, some have not. Some we're going to iron out and get better at moving forward. But I'm so proud of how the broadcasts look and the hard work that so many people have put into making these broadcasts look and sound the way they do. So I'm immensely proud of the work we've done on the telecast this season.
It's looked great, man. I told you this off air. I know I've mentioned it before since you're a weekly guest. I enjoy watching it. The different shots have been really good, and it's been a blast to see, and looking forward to keep it going. Have a great call tonight, and we'll do this again next week, okay?
Thanks, Tom. See you, buddy.
There he goes. Cory Provus joining us. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. Twins are taking on the Guardians tonight. Just real quick, and we'll maybe spend more time on this when the season is done. Star Tribune had a story today, and this is going back to what Manfred said earlier in the week, because we know the television deals are going to look different for baseball next season. As part of the new contract with ESPN, the Disney-owned company is expected to take on the distribution of local streaming rights commencing in either 2026 or 2027 for the 5 teams that have severed ties with FanDuel. That's the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Guardians, and the Twins. Now, we don't know, and Cory doesn't know the answer to this, if you already have the ESPN app, can I get the games that way? I don't need another subscription. Like, I bought the subscription, as many of you did, to Twins TV this year to stream them. If I already have the ESPN app, can I get it that way? That we don't know. We'll find out, I would imagine, hopefully before opening day of March of 2026. Let's break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Ron Wingenbach will join us. Century with a biggie tonight. They take on West Fargo. We'll chat about that. And then that guy, he used to coach him. Carson Wentz making his starting debut with the Vikings. Coming up in hour 2, we come back.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll on this Football Friday. We got NFL picks coming up in a half hour with my dad. Looking forward to wrap up the week in style. We went through it earlier, some of the highlight games on this Football Friday across North Dakota, including one out in Bismarck tonight, as Century will welcome in West Fargo Two old rivals. They've played some dynamite games through the years. Pleased to welcome back onto our show, Century head football coach Ron Wingenbach joins us this morning. I've had your son, Kenyon's been on all the time, so I feel bad I haven't had you on in forever, but it's great to see you. How you been?
I've been doing very well. Thanks, Tom.
So tell me about the start to the year here. You got a big win on the road last week through the first 3 games. How do the Patriots look to you so far?
Well, I think number one, our battle cry coming into the season was we had to stay away defensively from the big play, and we're getting better at that. But it still seems to nip us once in a while, and we just got to get better at that. And then on the offensive side, we got to put more points on the board. It's not that we haven't had great field position, but we just got to finish. And I think that's two of the things that are maybe instead of 2-1 or 3-0, we're 1-2 at this point, and it's probably because of that.
To get a road win like you did last week, though, what'd that do for your team's confidence, especially winning at Cheyenne like you did?
Well, that was a big victory for us. It seems like anytime we step on that field, we can expect a great football game. And, we had a big pick 6 late in the game. I think it was third quarter, maybe fourth quarter. But anyway, that was a huge play in the ball game, and we needed that at that point in time. And certainly was a big victory for our team.
Knowing full well, no matter when you guys come on the field, it's Century. You guys got a massive X on your back. For younger generations, how have you handled that with those guys, knowing, hey, their expectations come when you play for Century football?
Well, I think number one, it starts with some of our assistant coaches who were playing in those big games back in 2016 and so on. And I think they kind of remind the team of what it takes, what it's like to play in that type of atmosphere. And certainly every Friday night's a big night in the state of North Dakota across 3A football. So I think it all starts with that. And certainly we bring up a lot of old film when we want to demonstrate or show particular plays or schemes, etc. And we keep reminding them when it was played.
Describe, Ron, for your thoughts, we were talking this a little bit off air on the scheduling-wise, where you have the 4 non-counters and then the 5 league games. Is this a happy medium that you can for scheduling? How do you feel about it right now?
Well, I think it is. Early, I think it was last spring, we had an opportunity to kind of vote as to where we wanted the non-conference games. If we wanted to go to non-conference and then play some conference, come back with non-conference, etc. And the coaches across the state voted to just keep it the way it was, have all the non-conference first, and then finish up with the 5 conference games at the end. And is that the best? I don't know. I think number one, obviously, it gives you a lot of opportunity to kind of evaluate your team. Some coaches will say, well, at that point of the season, too, you might have some injuries that you didn't have early in the season. So it's a catch-22 a little bit, but it is what it is, and that's the way we're going to play it out.
Jay Gibson always told me, guy, you're going to see tonight, like we're going to get through these games, they don't count, and then the ones in the conference count. How do you approach that in terms of we're going to figure it out, and then by the time the league games go, then we're rolling?
Well, I think you have to count. You have to approach it like that because come next. Actually, this Saturday morning, everybody's 0-0 in the West region, and then the big games begin.
You paying attention, though, to other teams? Like, with Legacy's off to a great start. You know what Gibby's done at Bismarck. Are you keeping an eye on what the other schools are doing, though, so far?
Oh, I think with Huddle and the fact that we swap film every week across the state, I think you have a pretty good beat on what everybody's doing and some of their better players and so on and so forth and what they're trying to accomplish. So there's not a lot of big surprises anymore, especially after you've played 4 non-conference games.
Tell me about a couple of your standouts who've really impressed you so far in 2025.
Well, I think we've asked a lot of our players, especially our senior class, probably more so than we would like, but we've got some two-way players that we've had to continue to put out there. We're always awaiting for some of the juniors and sophomores to fill in some depth and so on. But a couple of individuals that have had some great beginnings for us. On the offensive line, we've got Braxton Dahl, a senior, Ian Schweigert, Peyton Seil. I think those 3 guys have kind of been our stalwarts, especially on the offensive and defensive lines. Braden Morris has been a kind of a two-way guy at our fullback and linebacker position. Xavion Harrelstead, he's been getting some looks from some college teams. And I think the one thing about Xavion has just become a lot more athletic since his sophomore year. And, anytime you can get to a 6'3", 6'3.5" type of wide receiver that can run well and has great hands, they're pretty viable. So I think, I could list some more, but I think those guys right now are kind of leading the team, and Joey Krolick's having a great year at the tight end, D-end position. So we got to kind of just jump on their backs a little bit and get us through these next couple of games until we get a couple of guys back to provide some depth.
You got West Fargo tonight. You know what Jay's team always brings to the table. What do you expect out of the Packers at home tonight?
Well, nothing different than we've seen the last 3 or 4 years. The one thing about defensively from Jay Gibson, you know what you're going to get. And it's nothing flashy, but he's very, very solid. They tackle well in space, and they do all the things fundamentally that keep them in ball games. And, like I told somebody, I said they could easily be 3-0 instead of 1-2. And they've played in a lot of close football games up to this point, and I'm sure they're going to come in with a head of steam tonight.
I was talking with Gibby about this, Ron, before the season began, and you've done this for so long. Why, in your opinion, the level of football, how it's gotten so good, we're talking, we got major schools coming in to offer guys. Why, in your opinion, has it gotten so much better in North Dakota over the last handful of years?
Well, I think number one, obviously the facilities and the opportunities for these young athletes to excel in their particular sport. With that being said, I look back at some of the kids that were recruited very highly from Century High School, a lot of multi-sport athletes that did a lot of things well. And at the collegiate level, and unfortunately with the NIL and so on and so forth, but college coaches just want the frame. They want the aggressiveness. They'll do the rest. And I keep telling our athletes that it doesn't matter what you play at the high school level. They will put you where they want you, and they will put the weight, the speed, etc. on that you need. So with that being said, I think we have a lot of blue collar workers here in the upper Midwest, and consequently they're being rewarded.
I had a chance. I was watching a couple of K-State games. I got to see big number 56 and Langang out there. Have you had a chance to visit with him and see his development now to be a regular guy that Chris Kleiman's playing at Kansas State?
I have kept in contact with him, and he's loving it down there. One thing about Andrew, he was such an individual that loved the grind of football, whether it be the weight room, practices, games. He just loved everything about the game of football. And you can kind of see him doing that same thing down there at K-State. And I know they've moved him around. The first game, he played a little bit of right guard and right tackle. And now I think he's kind of honed in on that right guard spot. But, unfortunately, they're off to a slow start. And I know Coach Kleeman, he'll get him going.
The interception he had in the Dakota Bowl, the one where he's sitting down, where does that play rank for you in terms of all-time great plays? Because it just was a phenomenal play.
It really was, and he had some help from his outside linebacker on that particular play. But just to be in that position, I think speaks volumes of not only his awareness but his ability to track the ball and kind of decipher the play before it began.
There's another one of your former players that's made news you may have heard of this week. I was giving you a hard time before that I appreciate you taking my call because the big-timers from down the Twin Cities were calling. Describe this week of finding out. I mean, I remember the draft process. We talked often on the Vikings, if it was ever a possibility. And, of course, Carson kept elevating his draft stock that he was going to be a top 3, top 4 guy. How big a deal is this in Bismarck this weekend that Carson is starting for the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for him and the Vikings themselves. I know it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because my two sons and I were on a chat there. So about a week ago when Carson was prepping for his first couple of games there with the Vikes, we kind of thought, well, what if somebody would get hurt and he'd be in? Wouldn't it be ironic that all of this would come to fruition? And it certainly has. And unfortunately, for J.J. McCarthy, you just never know. And it's no different at the pro level as it is the high school level. You're always just one play away from being that guy that needs to trot onto the field. And so we certainly wish him the best Sunday.
How often do you still check in? Do you watch all the time? Have you watched, or in terms of Carson's games, and how glued in will you be on Sunday to watch him play?
Well, we'll be definitely glued in. Unfortunately, in the last couple of years, especially when he was with the Chiefs, didn't get much PT. And then with the Rams, he got kind of the last, I believe, mop-up game, if memory serves me right. So, he really hasn't had a game where he's had the full deck in front of him. And, as much as they're beat up here this week, he'll get a pretty good dose of what they're all about, and then hopefully get Addison back next week, and things are going to start looking pretty good for him.
All right, I got to ask this because we haven't done this in a while, but give me your first or initial Carson Wentz memory. What comes to mind the first time you saw him on a football field?
Well, I'll back it up a little bit before that, a little bit on the baseball field, because when we were playing Little League baseball against him, we were not on the same team, and he was kind of a crybaby. I'll be honest. He was kind of a crybaby. Things didn't go his way. He was not very happy, but he matured through that. And one of the first recollections on the football field is, his sophomore year, as small as he was. I think he was only like 150 pounds, and you could kind of see, though, that he had kind of that moxie about himself, and being able to play the quarterback position, and then certainly when he hit the growth spurt and unfortunately had the wrist injury his junior year, and then came back and had a phenomenal senior year.
You remember the first, the college coaches that came in? Who was that, and what was that interaction like?
Well, some of the first college coaches that contacted me was Central Michigan was one of the first ones, and word must have got out because thereafter, between South Dakota State, North Dakota State, University of North Dakota, Montana State, they were all inquiring as to wanting film and so on and so forth. And realistically, back in 2010, Huddle was kind of just getting started. I mean, it wasn't what it is now. And so you kind of had to do your own homework. And certainly I accepted a lot of calls from those coaches, and they all wanted to know, if they could come and visit and so on. But Central Michigan was really kind of the first and foremost call that I got. And like I said, it was just floodgates thereafter.
Just think about that was the first one. It just seems surreal about it and how things ended up. It's great to catch up, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck tonight. Be well. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
Good to see you. There he goes. Ron Wingenbach, head coach, Bismarck Century, legend that he is. Patriots and West Fargo coming up tonight, part of the pack night on First Down Friday. You think of, again, that he had such great teams, and they were unable to win the big one. And then they finally did it in 2015. I'll never forget that. I called that game. Century played Minot that night at the Dome, one of the all-time great Dakota Bowls ever. Just fabulous. Dalton Feeney was unbelievable in that game for Bismarck Century that night. They won the championship that year. They beat Bismarck the following year. And then I think it was 4 out of 5 years they were in the title. They won it. They made it in 18, lost to Bismarck that year. That was the year they tried, I believe, the Philly special to win the game and got denied, and Bismarck won. And then they won it again, 19 and 20. They won back-to-back. So on a stretch, they won 4 out of 5 years. They won it. They made it back there in 22. That was the year, a couple years ago, when Shanley won it. I think Century was under 500 and then got hot in the postseason and made it all the way to the Dakota Bowl. It was amazing for a team that was always good, and then they finally got one, and then they won a bunch. And now they're always in the mix, and looking forward to see how 2025 plays out for them out west. Good stuff there. We're overdue for a break. We'll take one now. We get caught up. We got a bunch of emails coming in. We'll get to them. Uniform news. Yes. Breaking uniform news to tell you about as well. Back on Hot Mic on a Football Friday after this. All right, good stuff there with our guy, Ron Wingenbach. That was fun. Looking forward to seeing some big nights of high school football around the area. Let's get a couple of updates here as we close in on new football weekend. No Jaden Daniels cited at practice for the Commanders. I don't know if anybody picked Washington this weekend, but that's not great news there. The New York Football Jets are going with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. Justin Fields is out with a concussion. Jets have the Buccaneers coming up this weekend. Tampa, by the way, is going with this look. This, for the podcasters at home, this is them holding the old school white Buccaneers helmet with the white jersey. Yeah, we're doing our uniform update here. We can do this for 5 minutes. They have not done that before. They've done the creamsicle, which I'm still trying to get Hedberg to give me a creamsicle jersey. We're tied up there. But they're doing the all-white look on Sunday, which is dynamite. Unfortunately, we can't get a Cody Mauch one as well. Would like that. We'll take one or the other. But that's what Tampa is doing for its game against the Jets. Also, evidently, the Cleveland Browns, I think we talked about this when they announced it earlier this spring, are doing a alternate look, and they will debut it on Sunday against the Packers. And it looks like this, which is different. It's all chocolate, can you say? I just got to suit this color so I can say that. New brown helmet with their old Color Rush uniform to form an entirely head-to-toe mono brown uniform. So that's what Cleveland is. And I can't even imagine the jokes that are going to come Sunday. What happens when the Browns beat the Packers in these jerseys on Sunday? How that's going to go over. Yeah, but that's what and they're going to wear this 3 separate times, apparently, this year. They're wearing brown pants with orange stripes. The orange stripes pants match the helmet and will look much better than the solid brown pants the team will be wearing. Yeah, they're right about that. I don't know why they're not doing that, but that's what Cleveland is debuting this weekend. I don't know if we have any other new NFL combos besides the Tampa and Cleveland duo this weekend. It's bold enough, honestly, of what the Browns are going to be doing for this Sunday's game against Green Bay. Let's get a couple other emails in. Dom, are you going to check out the CBS pregame this week? I will, because this weekend, the NFL Today is honoring its 50-year anniversary. And if you did not see, a couple years ago, I think before the Super Bowl, CBS did it, honoring the old NFL Today, which when I grew up, Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek were on it with Irv Cross, and that was dynamite. That music came on, and you knew football. I was always at my grandma Izzo, my dad's mom, to watch that, and then we go home to watch, because obviously in Eastern time, pregame was on at noon, games start at 1. And that was the show. There was no other pregame we watched. Or at least I did. I mean, it's funny now because I don't think I watched CBS's at all. And I don't even know who's on the CBS show now. Cower's on it. Well, J.J. Watt was, but he's doing analyst stuff now. Matt Ryan's on it. Burleson's on it. And James Brown is the host because they got rid of Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason. If I have any pregame on, which I typically don't, it's the Fox guys, because they literally are dinosaurs. I mean, Jimmy Johnson brought the average age leaving down a little bit because they brought Gronk on, but it's Gronkowski, Strahan, Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Kurt Menefee. And that's an old group there. Frankly, none of the pregames are all that. I don't even know. NFL Network I don't watch. ESPN's is... Yeah, Amazon, I'll give you that. I watched Amazon's last night with Carissa Thompson. Tony Gonzalez offers nothing. Fitzpatrick is good. I like him. Andrew Whitworth is good. And Richard Sherman's pretty good. I like that outfit for Amazon. ESPN, it's funny because ESPN's weekday lineup trounces its Sunday, which is just bass backwards. I don't get that. Like they're so much better. And then they try out the guy with Rex Ryan. Nobody cares to hear from. And I'm a Jets guy. Alex Smith is okay. I like Randy Moss. Brewski, no. Who else is on that show? Schefter has to be and Greenberg I don't care for. I mean, it's such a drop on what they normally do on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, they'll be doing that on Sunday, CBS for leading into its games. With the big game in the late window is the Bears and the Cowboys. It's not 1985 anymore, but the Cowboys, of course, get the late window game coming up on Sunday. We'll break. We come back. It's time to pick some winners. I'm sure my dad has some thoughts on the pregame, guys. We'll probably ask about that and a bunch more when we wrap up our show with some NFL picks coming up. We come back.
And if you'd have went with a Boston, you'd have been living in the garage. I had a Yankee hat on, of course, which I usually almost always do, but she says to me, if I were you, I'd take that hat off. And I looked at what look at it to begin with. I ain't taking my hat off. I know where I am. Yeah, right.
You believe anything that guy says? Because I don't.
He said he was going to marry J-Lo, too, remember? Come on. I finally told your mom. I said, there's no sense. Let's just put TVs in the room because I'm only going to wake them up anyway. So
that's how I got a television? All righty, it's that time. Time to pick some winners as we wrap up the week. Here's my Pops live and direct from lovely Oswego, New York. What's up, Pops? How we doing?
Good. Having a good day so far.
All right. How'd we do last week?
9-6.
Okay. You're not going to make any money with that. What are we doing?
8-7 with the spread. 9-6 straight up.
Eric tells me you started out 7-0, so then it went the other way. Late,
yeah, it did. The 1 o'clock games were pretty good, but then I went bloop. The Vikings got me. The Steelers got me. Denver got me.
Your Steelers got you?
Yep.
Yeah. So before you came on, we were talking pregame shows. I don't really spend a whole lot of time. Some people do. Do you watch any of them anymore or no? You just flip them when the games come on?
Well, if I do, I'm on Fox usually.
Fox.
I like the Fox one, yeah. I used to like the ESPN one with Sam Ponder, and they changed everything and just ruined the whole thing. So I don't even bother with that one anymore. They can't never leave nothing alone.
No, that's what we do in television. We always take it. That's kind of what we do. So
I know.
Can't ever just leave it.
It is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. If I do, I watch Fox.
Okay, Fox is the way to go. That's typically what I do as well. But
yeah,
NBC's one is okay, but I don't. They have two different sets. I don't like that. Either be at the game or be at the studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't they have Collinsworth's son. He can go. I like Rodney Harrison. I don't mind Dungy. Maria Taylor's really good. Chris Sims is good. I like Florio. Jason Garrett is blah. One of the McCourty twins is good. It's too much. It's one or the other. Either be live at the stadium or live in the studio.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that, but it says you're right. It kind of breaks it up, and it's not the same.
Yep.
I don't know. I like the Prime one too. That's really
Amazon's is good, man. I was saying that off the top. I mean, I really like if you don't watch it from the beginning, which I don't. That rapid recap function is fantastic. It says every big play and then takes you live to the game. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Cool. I enjoy it anyway.
Did you enjoy last night? Did you make some money last night?
No, I bet the touchdowns and Allen let me down.
What do you mean?
What
do you mean he let you down?
He didn't score a touchdown. I needed a touchdown.
So that one that he flipped, you were upset about because you wanted to run that in, is what you're saying?
Yes, if he'd have done that, I'd had a winner. Because I had Tyreek Hill, and I had Cook, and I had him for touchdowns.
Well, you almost...
So, it is what it is.
That's why Vegas is what they are. They always are able to win. So, before we do our picks, we're down the stretch run here. We got 5-6 races left in the NASCAR year? What do we got here?
I think there's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to go. You want to pick a winner for us in New Hampshire this weekend?
Now that's a flat track. Going to be a Ford probably, so I really don't want to pick, but I don't know. It's hard. You know what? I'm going to go with C Bell again.
Oh, Eric just said it. He's won 2 of the last 3. There you go. You guys, if you guys are on the same wavelength, that's scary. So there you
Bell,
go.
back to back.
All right.
Even though I'm picking a Toyota. See my hat?
I got you. Is that your new sponsor for your segment here? Is that a deal?
Yeah, no, they gave it to me for buying a $50,000 truck. They give you a hat.
Well, come on. Tell them you're on TV. We can get a sponsorship out of that. So, holy cow.
I will when I go back. I'll show them this clip.
Oh, man. USA has the race. Don't forget, USA has the race this weekend. So, it's not NBC. NBC has the last couple. So
either way, I'd put an MRN on and delete that.
You're not a fan,
I can't stand that guy for Channel 3.
Really?
He belongs in IndyCar. He's not a NASCAR
here we go.
guy.
All right.
The only reason he's on there is because they dumped IndyCar.
They did. Fox has it now. So
yeah.
Don't
get me going.
Shall we do some picks here?
I'm ready.
All right, let's rock and roll. We'll start with the game of the weekend, the 0-2 New York Jets and the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs without our guy Cody Mauch, who finished the whole game on a blown-out knee. No surprise there.
I knew before halftime that kid was hurt. You could see it.
Yeah.
And he just kept, you could see he wasn't right.
He wasn't coming out of the game, though.
Yeah.
The Jets are playing Tyrod Taylor at quarterback since Fields is hurt. Tampa's a 6.5-point favorite on Sunday.
I'll take the Bucs.
You picked against the Jets all 3 weeks. What are you doing?
And I've won. That's that.
Yeah. Packers are unbeaten against the 0-2 Browns, who are wearing the all-brown uniform on Sunday. Green Bay is a 7.5-point. Green Bay's look really good. 7.5-point favorite for the Packers.
They do look good. I'm going to take the Pack.
Got Green Bay minus 7.5. That's a lot of points there on the road.
Yeah, that one I had bet money line on that one.
Yeah. Colts
watch some points.
At the Titans. Indianapolis is 2-0. Off to a great start. They're a 4.5-point road favorite with Daniel Jones. Why can't the Giants find quarterbacks like him?
I'm going to go with the Titans.
Ooh, Titans plus the points. All right, Tennessee plus 4.5. That's a division game. Normally they play pretty close there.
Sam's not going to be happy with me, but give me the Titans.
The backup bowl in Minneapolis. Jake Browning for Cincinnati. Carson Wentz will start for the Minnesota Vikings, who are a 2.5-point favorite at home. I'm more upset over the fact that Burrow and McCarthy are both hurt, because that would have been elite. Jim Nance and Romo are coming to Minneapolis for this game, and they got 2 backups that are going to be here.
If there wouldn't even be a game if Burrow was playing, you know that.
Wow, it wouldn't even be a game?
Give me Cincinnati.
Wow, okay. Cincinnati plus 2.5.
I really hope Carson blows me away. I really do.
Oh, the Viking fans are hoping for that. There's no doubt. The Steelers are at the Patriots on Sunday. What happened to your team on Sunday?
I don't know what happened. Let's see. I got to go with the Steelers.
Minus 1.5. It's basically a pick'em is what they're saying here for your guy A-Raj. All right. Pittsburgh minus 1.5 at New England. I think the game of the weekend is the Rams-Eagles. You contend, I think you're not alone in this, the Rams had the Eagles on the ropes. They couldn't make a stop in the snow last year in the playoffs. Now, don't have to worry about weather on Sunday. Philly's a 3.5-point favorite at home against the Rams.
Give me the Rams.
Ooh, okay. You say straight up without the points, do they win?
Yes.
Okay. He likes the Rams here. All right. Got 3 underdogs already. Raiders are at the Commanders.
The tush push is done. You know that, right? They're going to watch it like a hawk now.
They might. This line may move because Jaden Daniels likely not going to play for Washington, their starting quarterback. Right now it's 3.5 for Washington, with Marcus Mariota would be the quarterback for the Commanders if he can't go.
I'm going to go with Washington anyway.
All right. Washington over Vegas minus 3.5. By the way, did you make it to the end of the Monday night game? The second one? The second one?
Yes.
Really?
I fell asleep, then woke up. So.
Well, the ratings for it were unbelievable, so I don't know if they're going to keep doing the double headers because that's It was after 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time they got done.
Yeah.
That was a late night.
I'd have never seen the end if I didn't just wake up.
Took a cat nap during the game.
That's all.
Falcons at the Panthers. Carolina is a 5.5-point underdog in this one.
Give me Atlanta.
Atlanta minus 5.5 in that one. Texans are 0-2. Lost a tough one, obviously, Monday night at Jacksonville, where the Jaguars are a 1.5 favorite.
They lost a tough one, too.
They did.
Give me the
Cincinnati.
Texans.
Got Houston plus 1.5 at Jacksonville. All right, late games. Denver blew that one. They should be 2-0. Lost to Indianapolis. They play the Harbaugh Chargers, who are 2-0. The Chargers are a 2.5-point, and the Chargers look good. I'm just telling you.
They do. They look pretty good.
Yep.
I like their defense, especially.
Yep.
Give me the Chargers.
Chargers minus 2.5. Could this be
I
the
like
year?
it when
finally?
Peyton cries, too. He's another one I like to see whine.
So both coaches you despise in that game.
Yeah, I hope they both was whine. Perfect thing would be them and then
They tie? Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
The Saints are at the Seahawks. New Orleans may be the worst team in the league. They're 0-2. Seattle split their first two. Of course, they had the big win in Pittsburgh. They're a 7.5-point home favorite against New Orleans. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks.
Seattle minus 7.5.
They should cover that.
Touchdown favorite there over the Saints. Cowboys and the Bears is the feature late game with your guy Brady. Dallas is a 1.5 favorite at Chicago.
He's catching a lot of heat for being in the booth in L.A.
He knows better than that. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's untouchable.
Exactly right. That's why he knows what he's doing.
Give me the boys.
Dallas minus 1.5 at Chicago. Boy, the Bears aren't very good either. Cardinals, 49ers. Arizona's 2-0. San Francisco is 2-0. Good game here. San Fran's a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, give me the Niners.
San Francisco minus 2.5. One with Mac Jones at quarterback last week when Purdy was out. Sunday night, the 0-2 Chiefs and the 0-2 Giants. Somebody's got to win. Kansas City is a 6.5-point favorite.
That's not true. They could tie.
Yeah, that's a guess. Yeah.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. They got to win this.
Gotta win? I think the Giants. I'll tell you that right now. Giants plus the points, I would.
Nah, that's something's got to break here.
Kansas City minus 6.5 there. Monday night, good one. Detroit and Baltimore. Ravens got on the win column after they knocked off Cleveland. Detroit looked amazing as they scored 50 against the Bears. Baltimore's 4.5-point favorite at home.
That's a tough one right here.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
take
good.
it. I'm going to go with the Lions, though.
Okay, Detroit plus the points there. All right. Plus 4.5.
Detroit's getting points. That's hard to believe.
All right. All right, so let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 underdogs this week here. Okay. You might be making some money. You might be making money here for people. That's what we want to do. So there you go.
Give it a shot.
This week, did you laugh all week because the Twins and Yankees played? Although the Twins got them in one game.
They did get them one game. That one shocked me. But not really. The way they've been playing is just crazy.
Well,
but
right now,
I mean, Minnesota's usually guaranteed win.
Yankees currently are you got a 3-game lead on Boston. So I mean, now you're worried. Now you play the Astros. You don't want any part of that. The Astros always beat the Yankees.
The Astros always make me
Yes,
nervous.
the Astros always beat the Yankees. Now you don't want that.
That's a tough one. We got to win at least 2 of this one, but now we're only 3 out, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, there's still a chance.
3 out with, 7 to go here. That's
until next weekend, right?
Or 10 to go. Yeah, next weekend wraps up the regular season. So I think you're going to win our bet, by the way. The Mets have 79 wins. The Yankees have 86, so I'm not going to win that one.
Well,
again.
There was no doubter. Come on.
There was doubt in June.
In June.
Hold on. What was the mark again? Eric dug up the record here. The Yankees have had a better record 18 times over the Mets since 2000. How about that?
Well, I'm not surprised. You might be surprised.
I'm actually surprised it was 4. The Mets had the record, had a better record than the Yankees 4 times since 2000. Actually, that did surprise me.
He's got to be excited about his Packers, isn't he?
He's very excited about. Don't even get started here. Between the Brewers and the Packers, he's been off the chain here on that. So
that's good.
All right, you have a great weekend. What do you got going on? Anything good?
No, not too much. No plans this weekend, so it's nice.
That sounds like the best kind of plans with none there.
Yes.
Have a great weekend. I love you, and I'll talk to you later, all right?
All right, man. Love you too.
There he goes. My Pops with his picks for the week. Underdogs, he's taking the Lions plus 4.5. Texans, he's taking with the points. The Rams, that sounds like his lock. Rams plus 3.5, and the Titans plus 4.5 for his picks on week 3, which gets going again on Sunday. We'll take our last break. We come back. We'll wrap it up. We got to give our eliminator picks. Who's moving on? We got 2 already moving. We'll do that and set you up for a great sports weekend. Hot Mike will wrap on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on this Friday morning, getting ready for the weekend. I had this tweet sent to me, and I wanted to bring it up real quick. When we have more time, we will do the unofficial Izzo rankings of airports. I'm fortunate enough, I've traveled a bit, that I've been to some, but this is a tweet I wholeheartedly agree with, saying the airport in Philadelphia has been ranked the worst airport in North America, and I couldn't agree more. I've been to Philly more than a handful of times. That airport, A, is always under construction, and B, it's like 4 airports all combined together. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's awful. I could not agree. Newark is just below Philadelphia. Philadelphia and Newark are just terrible. I'll say Minneapolis is high up there for me. Minneapolis is a great airport. Really, really good in terms of the bigger ones. But Philly, brutal. Okay, now we've come to the end of the show here. So before we do What to Watch, it's Friday. As many know, we're doing our Eliminator Challenge here among our Hot Mic staff. And shout out to the great Matt Hopper, because he makes all of our intro videos like you see for Cory Provus or several other guests, Kolpak, McFeely's. He made one for our Eliminator, and this is pretty darn cool. Here it is. How awesome is that? That's fantastic. It's like from 1987. I love it. Okay. Oh, we got new graphics as well. All right. Eliminator Challenge for today. So Sam and Matt both picked Buffalo, so they won. They're moving on. John and Maddie are both on the Packers this weekend, so good luck to them as they got facing off with Cleveland. Strecker is going with Atlanta after he boldly went on a limb and took the Bills to beat the Jets. He barely survived with the Vikings winning in week 1. Now he's got Atlanta, and this might be the cruelest cut of all. The Jackman is taking Tampa Bay to beat the Jets. My own son, flesh and blood, is picking against me. Eric's got the Seahawks. Brody's got the Seahawks. So that is the lineup of picks that we have for the Eliminator. We'll see who survives when we come back on Monday. All right, let's get out of here with some What to Watch before we wrap things up. He made this too, which is fantastic. We mentioned we got 2 high school games coming up tonight. Wayzata and the Spuds, 6 o'clock. That's here on Extra. Bismarck and Davies, 7 o'clock on WDAY 2. Bunch of games we mentioned earlier in the show. That Minot Shanley game, keep an eye on as well. Bismarck and Davies as well. Also coming up tonight on What to Watch, Twins are in action, if you care, as they take on the Guardians. Iowa Rutgers, 7 o'clock on Fox. And Liberty and the Mercury, whoever wins that, will play the Lynx coming up on Sunday. The other NFL games, here they all are with their spreads. That Rams-Eagles game is the fun one for me. Maybe the Chiefs-Giants on Sunday night. Also coming up this weekend, Bengals and the Vikings. That's a CBS game at noon. The Lynx will play at 4 o'clock Sunday on ESPN against the winner of the Liberty and the Mercury. Biggie tomorrow, college football, Michigan, Nebraska, 2:30 on CBS. We got to roll. Thanks to my dad for his picks, to Ron Wingenbach and Cory Provus. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Stay dry, everybody, this weekend. Enjoy the football. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday on Hot Mike. Thanks for watching.